Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Alex Lopez Talks on the Alex Lopez Rocks YouTube channel. I, of course, am Alex Lopez, and I am joined today by the amazing Dee Kimble. Dee is a documentary maker, a DJ, a bass player, and I believe you do some accounting work too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
That's the boring stuff, the accounting. Yeah.
The multifaceted and well-versed world of Dee Kimble. Dee, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure, man. I love it.
Awesome. So let's start with the DJing aspect of things. What made you get into that kind of realm?
With the DJ aspect, it's funny because I never wanted to be a DJ. It was not a passion. I think my passion was acting. I was trying to do some of the acting work. I was an extra in a few movies here and there, like some of the old school stuff that just walk on camera, that kind of stuff. And I did stand up for a while too. So I did acting, I did stand up in my younger years. The problem with those two industries, they didn't pay as well, wasn't paying my bills at all, wasn't working, but it was a lot of fun. And I was trying to support myself. And so I was introduced into the DJ world with one of my comedian friends. And he says, hey, man, I just made, a few $100s just DJing a house party. And he said, why don't you come with me to the next gig? And I did. And the rest is history. Once the money start flowing, but of course I love music. It wasn't about the money, but that's how I got started in the DJing. I got started in DJ at a very young age. I would say around 21, 22-ish, Okay.
So you said you mentioned you did some acting and stand-up work.
Yeah.
What movies did you appear in extra-wise?
Meet Joe Black. That's the one with Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins, which was great. And that was cool meeting those guys. And then Copland with Sylvester Stallone. I don't know if you're familiar with these movies. You're a movie buff.
I am. I remember. I think everyone saw Joe Black.
Joe Black.
The whole peanut butter thing.
Yeah, that was too. I was in the scene where they were working on Amsterdam Road Street in New York, and I was just seen there. I was young at the time, so they had me come with a backpack. And I was walking, pretending I was talking to a school buddy of mine. We didn't know each other, but we had to pretend we known each other. So I was in that. Copland, a couple New York Undercover episodes, couple NYPD episodes. What other big movie? Oh, Godzilla 2000, the one with Matthew Broderick.
I remember that one.
I was in that one. Yeah, I was in that one. And then that's it. I did a Dunkin' Donuts training video thing, did some extra works. But yeah, that's when I was living out in Jersey for a while, for a couple of years with my sister. And I was living in New York. I was trying to make it.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was cool.
Copland was Stallone. I think did it have De Niro too?
It had De Niro. It had Stallone. It had Michael Rappaport was in it.
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel. It had some big famous people, and
Harvey Keitel is amazing.
Oh, he's amazing. And I wasn't able to really get to meet them on that set. They kept us a little bit more away.
Yeah.
But on Meet Joe Black, I actually got to interact with Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins because we had to walk ahead of them. So it was pretty cool to see them and see how they're not really that tough or beautiful looking, like in person. They're ordinary, just like me and you, man. But
the ladies are not going to appreciate you saying that about Brad Pitt.
Well, he's older now.
But he is older.
He was nice. He was smoking a cigarette on set. And then Anthony Hopkins, the cool thing with him is I didn't realize he was from the UK. So when he talked to you, he had the English accent because then the biggest movie was Silence of the Lambs. You know what I mean? That was his claim to fame. And I kept thinking about that character. But then when he talked, he was a gentleman. He was, people kept trying to go up and get his autograph. He was very politely turning them away. So it was really cool to hear him speak because he had the British accent. So cool stuff, man.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins, amazing actor. So.
Yeah, definitely amazing. So
Oh.
So it was cool. It was cool. And then, you know, it's one of those things where you're out there all day, and you get paid $60. You're out there all day. You're there 14 hours. You may lucky if you get a lunch, and it wasn't paying the bills. So that's why I started dabbling into the music world. The music world was very rewarding, paid more of the bills,
Yeah.
and you know.
Now you've done weddings, you've done birthday parties, you've done like club gigs.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Start off doing the club stuff. The club work, house parties is usually where you start off, and I'm probably speaking for all DJs. You know, your buddy is like, hey man, you know, it's gonna be a lot of chicks. We're gonna have a house party, you know, beers and everything. So you're excited. So you DJ for the beers, you know.
Oh,
then you got
nice.
yeah. And then they're like, oh, you can spend the night. You know, I got a futon set up for you if you come and DJ my house party. So it started off with the house party, went from college parties, and then I graduated and started making connections with other people that did the weddings, the bat mitzvahs, the other stuff. I started doing a lot of club work as well too. So it's all word of mouth, and you know, you have to start from the bottom pretty much and work your way up.
Now, any fun stories from the club days?
Well,
that you're allowed to share. That you're allowed to share.
Yeah, absolutely. That's okay. Club days. I DJed a lot in Boston. One of the biggest places was Sissy K's. I did Sissy K's, which is around Faneuil Hall area. And man, it was just fights all the time. And it was packed every night. And it was to a point where they had a DJ from like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to Saturday, 7 days a week. I was DJing at least 4 or 5 days a week there. Wow. And one time a fight broke out, and I played Everybody Loves Kung Fu Fighting. You know what I mean? Like I played that song when a fight broke out. I just want to have fun. The owner came up, it's like, you bet not do that anymore. I'm like, hey man, I wanted to have fun. So that's my club life. Move. I just wanted to have fun with it, you know. Nice. But that place was always hopping. It was always someone acting ignorant, belligerent, and things would get out of control. Nightlife is a very dark life. It really is. So I don't know if you experience it when you play, you know, but when you enter that bar scene, the dive bars, the clubs, it gets a little dark. The weddings and the bat mitzvahs and the kids parties are more spiritual. It's really great because it's family. You're out there. It's a really good time. But when it comes to the nightlife, it sounds cool, but after a while, it gets a little dark.
I can imagine. Yeah. And the thing is, usually like after a certain hour, you can tell like the witching hour is usually like around 1:30 or 2. People like anything before that, you're usually fine. You're unpacking your gear, you're moving on, you're heading back home, calling it night. But if you get caught up like right around that 2 a.m. mark, forget about it. Everyone has lost their damn minds.
They lose it. One more song they chant and they just lose their minds. So, but it's good stuff, man. I'll still do a club here and there, but not as much. Just more of the like traditional stuff, the weddings and the bat mitzvah. Kids parties are great. Loving the kids parties.
Nice.
You know.
Now you also how you and I met is you also make documentaries.
Absolutely.
And now what got you into that? Like, because I know you've been on the other side of the cameras doing some extra work and the DJing part, and you've got this series that you put together, global DJ, I think, DJing or DJ.
Yeah, it's called the Deejayer, and it's not. Yeah, it's not about just DJs. It's about musicians as a whole.
Exactly.
So how I got into it, I think before the pandemic, I think, to be honest, and Alex, I'm outspoken. I think in our world as being a musician and being an entertainer, we lack the respect. I think people are respecting us now because they realize they missed it in 2020. So now we're starting to gain that respect, but before we didn't get the respect.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how hard we work. So my documentary shows the work, the effort, the passion of what people put into their music. So my documentary is to interview musicians from all over the world, entertainers. I don't care if you're a street performer. I don't care if you're playing in front of a 5,000 stadium, crowds of people. So I just kind of wanted to capture the passion, capture the body of work of musicians like yourself or like anybody else that's out there. And so it was put on hold because of the 2020 pandemic. It is going to, I am going to start working on it as we speak.
Yeah.
But that's what the concept of the documentary is for. It's sort of kind of give people an idea what musicians go through.
Yeah, and that first documentary is up on Amazon Prime. So anybody who has Amazon Prime can watch it, can stream it. You know, it's on there as part of the Prime subscription. So
that's right. It's the Deejayer.
Yep, the Deejayer, and it is amazing. That one is when you traveled, you went to the UK, you know, and you've interviewed a bunch of artists. You had a couple of hip hop artists, you had a rock artist, so it was really like the diversity of music in the different scenes was really nice to see.
Absolutely. And just the culture of the different places you go, like going to the UK, I think it was a little bit of a different vibe than here in the United States. And I can even say it's more of a different vibe here on the East Coast in Boston area, Massachusetts, versus if we go to Tennessee, versus if we go to Oklahoma, where I'm originally from, or California. So I want to kind of show that because every area has their own story. It has their own connection to what music. I think music is history. And so that's what the documentaries are about. And before this pandemic happened, I was supposed to go to Amsterdam in Belgium. And then it happened. I'm like, oh no. So it's going to probably be more local at this point until, you know, the whole world kind of get past this COVID-19 situation. And then I'll start doing more international stuff.
That's awesome. So, now, so once the world starts opening up, going to Amsterdam, that sounds like an amazing trip in itself. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Should be great.
Now, what got you into making the documentaries?
What made me? I think that part of it, and I think you just want to. I want to put a. It's kind of like a journal. You know, I don't write journals. I don't write diaries. Kind of like how the Egyptians back in the day, they wrote something on the wall, and then some people, you know, and then we're trying to translate it. I kind of want this to be something where I want to document just life, you know, and I was always into that. I was always into filmmaking and acting anyway. But I think real life is better than fiction. So that's why I got into documentaries. I think too, with 2020 actually pushed me more to make the documentaries, especially with things that has been going on with the 2020, with the protesting, with the Black Lives Matter, with the COVID, with everything that's going on. It's my way of protesting and getting what I feel out there as well too. So not only on the music side, but only on social issues too. You know, so that's how I got into it. It's just a way of me expressing myself in a peaceful manner. You know, so that's how I feel about it. You know.
And those kind of messages are necessary, and they're crucial for, especially in this day and age where things kind of get lost in the void and people are more focused on image than reality.
Absolutely.
So it's good that you kind of shine a light on the reality of situations through your documentaries.
Absolutely. And I think people need to know. I think a lot of times what we do is everybody stay in their own box, right? And we don't know. We don't get to walk in another man's shoes. And if it doesn't bother us and it doesn't affect us directly, we don't know. We get ignorant. Even myself, like there's some things I don't know about certain cultures or certain what people are going through. I think doing documentaries, and I love watching documentaries anyway, it kind of shows it kind of shed light on certain subjects. And you're like, wow, I didn't know that. Well, you know what documentary I watched the other day was the Mike Tyson story. It was great. You need to watch it. And I didn't really have a love for Mike Tyson. I always thought he was just this bad guy. But watching that documentary made you realize, wow, he's been through a lot. There's a reason why he's been through a lot of trials and tribulations. He had some dark times, you know, you're able to relate to him. And so that's why I got into documentaries, because I want people to kind of see the other side and see the other picture, and so they can relate to musicians, or they can relate to some of the social issues that's going on in this country.
Yeah, and that's funny you point out Mike Tyson, because everyone, you know, usually makes the ear biting joke, or you know, or points out some of the other stuff, that flaws and defects that he has, you know, but he was one of the greatest boxers in the world, probably in the top 5 of all time.
Absolutely.
You know? And like, to get into that field where you're literally fighting for your survival, it can be a physically, you know, a rewarding thing, but there's usually some sort of trauma behind that, where you're fighting your own personal demons and struggles and traumas that you've absorbed from other people to get to that position, you know?
Absolutely. I agree with you. And, you know, he's been through a lot. I mean, he grew up in a really bad area, you know. It's just interesting about what people's lives. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in our own little world, and we don't know what another person worked. You know, we tend to judge, and I do it myself. I'm guilty of it as well. You know, so it's cool making these documentaries, because you really get to know people. You really get to show the struggles, and also too, you can connect with the people. You can connect, like, everybody is a human, everybody is spirit, and you know, everybody matters, and that's what I want to show during the documentaries.
Yeah, and that's important. You you know, I think you still have people that have empathy, but it just seems more and more that people are a little more reserved with that empathy, and you know, like you shining a light on some of these things and trials and tribulations that others are going through will hopefully kind of allow that to resonate more, and for people to feel a little more empathetic towards their fellow man, you know, their brothers and their sisters, you know.
Absolutely. Amen to that. You're preaching today.
not trying to, just kind of flowing from our conversation.
No, it's flowing.
You know?
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. We're getting to some deep conversations, man.
And I was saying, yeah, we're just gonna keep it light. We're just gonna do this. And, never mind.
It's all good, man.
Now, what are some of your like filmmaker influences? Like, I know you like with the documentaries. You mentioned the Mike Tyson one really hit you. Was there any other ones?
Man, a lot of things hit me. Mike Tyson, I mean, it's stuff like the fire. What was the Fire Fest? That one.
Oh, the Fire Fest was great.
We work. Yeah, it's awesome. We work. There's all kinds. I mean, it's so many documentaries as well. There's actually a documentary. I forgot the name of it. It's about 2 police officers. I think they're in San Antonio, and they use a light approach. They deal with a lot of people with mental. I don't know if they're like the mental illness police, but they go out and just the cameras just follow them around, and it was so authentic. There was no special graphics or special effects put on that documentary, but it showed these 2 officers going out using a lighter approach when it comes to people with mental illness. It wasn't like, hey, you know, get on the ground, we're gonna just arrest you. It was more they were talking to them, trying to reason with, you know, some of the people that's trying to battle drug addiction or mental illness and things like that. It's a great documentary. I can't think of the name of it, but that's definitely one of my favorites, because it shows the organic side of things. It wasn't like, oh, they put a bunch of like words and put a lot of graphics to make it look good. It was just basically a camera, like someone must have took their iPhone out and just follow these 2 police officers around. So stuff like that I like it when it's like just raw material. No, you know, you don't need a script, you know, very flowy, just like me and you having this conversation right now. Those are kind of documentaries I like. So it's not like one documentary or some of my favorites. As long as it's organic, as long as it's real, as long as it shows the realness of the situation, I'm good with that. And that's how I want to make my documentary. I have 2 or 3 of them that I'm trying to release, and and to be honest with you, Alex, they're shot from my Android. You know, they're shot from this phone. You know, I use a couple cameras, but to capture the realness and get it spot on. You have to take out, you got to take this out to capture the moment. You can't just take out a big camera and say, okay, go, you know?
Yeah.
So those are kind of documentaries, and those are the type of influences that makes me more creative with mine. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. It does.
Yeah.
Now you're currently working on a few documentaries that you mentioned. Can you give us a little sneak peek, like on what some of these are?
Yes. So a couple of documentaries. So one of them's got you in it.
I do.
Well, the one's got you in it. So we got with Fitchburg, which is I like the city itself, and that I know that they're trying to really do something to get the music scene in that predominantly area back up, and so you're in it. So bands. There's one which is the one that you said that's on Amazon Prime, which is the one in the UK. Well, I still yet to put the second one out, so that one's coming out, episode 2 of that one. And then there is a documentary called My Bros that I'm doing, and that is about what we all been through. So it's My Bros is the people that I respect and love, and just getting their whole take on just the situation with the George Floyd, with the pandemic, with the election and everything. And so and they're all different. Not everybody agrees on the same thing, but although that I do disagree with some of them on this documentary, I still respect them, and they're still my bros. So that's why that's one of the documentaries that I'm releasing, that it kind of talks and hit on some of the social issues and how they dealt with 2020. And so that's soon to be released. I'm hoping to get it out by the end of the month. So
excellent.
So those are the 3 that I'm trying to get out, and hopefully that if things go right, all of them should be released when, definitely before the summer ends.
Okay, wonderful. So most of these will be available around probably July or August.
Yeah, July or August, give or take. I want to try to do it at the end of the month, but definitely July or August, give or take. Yeah.
Excellent. Now you also play bass. I
do. I just started.
Tell us
I'm available. I'm available, Alex. I'll play with anybody. Are you kidding me?
Nice.
I like your stuff. Your stuff is jamming.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I started playing bass. Well, I played bass way before. But I never got serious until this year. I think with this pandemic, it kind of got me back into playing bass. So, been kind of jamming out with three other guys, with my buddy D Haywood, Dan Sullivan, and Steve Furtado, and we're just playing jazz. We play jazz music. So we do have some shows coming up, and we got together September. We've been making some progress, but for a band that has been together less than a year, we just kind of started getting together around, I say, October, and we got, I got serious with it. And so that's what's happening with that, I was able to play a couple days ago on Saturday, with my buddy, Randall Ver, which is a great guitarist. He's been playing for a long time. And I was able to play, with him at the Night Shift in Everett, Night Shift Brewery. Yeah, and the crowd was great. People were just happy to hear live music. So I was able to play a little bit with him, a couple of days ago on Saturday. So, but it's been great. It's been a blessing.
Nice.
I'm still working. I'm working on my theory and my skills. I'm getting into it.
Yeah, time and hard work it always makes you better.
Yes, absolutely. So. Absolutely.
Now, music-wise, as a bass player, what's your go-to song? What's that influence for your bass playing?
The power song. My go-to song.
That aha song that's like, it just locks it in for you on bass.
Oh my God, that's great. I'll be honest with you. I like some of the 80s stuff. So Roxanne is one of my favorites. Like the Police, like any Southern rock. Hey Joe from Jimi Hendrix, awesome.
Nice.
Some CCR stuff, The Who, like that Southern rock kind of stuff is awesome. That 70s, 60 Almond Brothers.
I was just gonna suggest Allman Brothers.
Oh my God, those are great, and they make you work. You're a guitar player. It's just they make you work. Those kind of songs you're working to death. Although I do like on some of the heavier stuff side, I do like IPA, not IPA, Interpol. There's a group called Interpol.
Oh, Interpol, yeah, they're a great alt rock band.
Yeah, I like that. That just gets me kind of pumped up when I play one of their songs, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's funny with Interpol. The first time I heard them was, I think, early 2000s, like 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
I was at a Newbury Comics record store. For the youth, that's where you actually go into a store and buy music.
I know.
Because almost all of these places are gone nowadays. So,
no, they're gone. They're gone.
So this was like 16, 17 years ago. And I heard them, and I'm like, and it sounded like a band from the 70s called Joy Division. And I heard, Joy Division would then later become New Order after the lead singer passed away.
Right.
So I'm hearing the vocals, and it really had that heavy Joy Division style to it, but a little more pop. And I'm like, this sounds like Joy Division. Who are these guys? And I was told, oh, this is Interpol, and they had the record highlighted because it was playing in the over the PA. So I grab a copy, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get this, and I ended up getting one for myself and one for my brother, who was actually a massive Joy Division fan. I'm like, I think you're gonna like this. This is kind of like a modern Joy Division feel for it. And he was like, oh wow, he's like, that album, I can listen to it. He told me, it's like I could listen to it without skipping a song. That first album.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And then just the coordination and the music and the sounds, it's just it works well together. They have a lot of sounds that's in that, some of their songs, they have a lot of sounds, but it all sounds so well. It's not just a bunch of noise, everything just sounds great, So it's there's a couple of songs. They have one called Slow Hands and PDA that I kind of play.
Amazing.
Yeah, I play it and I'm like, oh, you get so pumped up, That kind of music gets you pumped up. I do like playing jazz. Jazz is good, but it's a different animal. It is a different animal, but it's nothing like playing rock that just gets you like your adrenaline flowing,
Oh yeah. So, and off the air, I'll recommend some like heavy metal, hard rock songs that are bass centric that I think you're going to get a kick out of.
Definitely. Give me a little bit. Give me some lessons. Give me. Yeah.
I'll toss some songs your way, 'cause I think you're going to dig them.
That's right. And then you can give me a grade. You know what I mean? Give me my report card. Give me a grade. See how I do with them, man. I'll videotape them for you.
Love it, man. Love it. So you mentioned that you're going to be playing out with D. Haywood, and we've got some documentaries coming out down the pike really soon. What else are you currently working on?
Well, I'm working on just a lot of stuff. I think I'm getting more into the bass playing. So I think being a music guy and kind of trying to be well diverse with music, I'm just trying to diversify my portfolio, so to speak. Nice. So getting into some keyboard playing, nothing crazy, nothing like, I'm not going to do Great Balls of Fire or do some Billy Joel stuff, but just a little keyboard playing and bass playing that I want to incorporate it into my DJing. And so a lot of times when I do DJ work, I DJ for the kids, I'm an interactive DJ, but there's times where, hey, I'm just mixing. And I think I'm going to incorporate a lot of the bass playing and keyboard playing while I'm mixing to kind of give the music a little bit more pump, maybe give the music a little bit more low end and maybe a little keys and add a little remixes to the song. So those are the things I am working on. With the drummer that I play with, we're trying to incorporate more of a hip hop thing as well too. We're trying to do some drum and bass, and any hip hop artist that wants like a band to play in back of them, we want to kind of give them that option. Hey, if you're a rapper or you in a hip hop and you want to play in front of a live audience, we'll make the beats for you. We'll play right behind you. As long as you got the flow, you got the spit, so to speak,
Yeah.
we're able to play behind you. So I'm just doing all kinds of stuff with the music. I love music. I'm happy that I got away from acting, because I think the music world is more my thing. I'll tell you one more thing, and I don't want to drag this out.
Oh, it's all
I
good.
tried I tried doing this acting thing again during the pandemic, and I didn't want to announce it, but I think it's safe to announce it. So there's a movie on Netflix that's coming out called Don't Look Up. It's got Jennifer Lawrence and got Leonardo DiCaprio. It's got some big stars in it. Okay, it's like a dark comedy. It was filmed in Boston. So,
Oh, wow.
A lot of movies are being filmed in Boston,
yeah.
in Georgia. You know why? Because you get the film credits. I do taxes, so I know they get the film credits.
Yeah, they get a tax break off of the production.
Absolutely. So a lot of times they're pulling out of LA and New York and Chicago because, like, okay, we might as well do Georgia and we might as well do Massachusetts. So a lot of movies are being made in these areas. So they made the movie called Don't Look Up. So I was called to do actually a speaking part in that movie.
Wow.
It was awesome. And so I went down there, and I'm hanging out, and I'm just like one of those guys. I'm a talkative guy. I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to this person and that person. Leo and Jennifer is there. I don't care. I'm talking to them either. You're a person like me.
Yeah.
And so I think we had I don't know if it was a hater, but I think the casting director was kind of looking at me like, you're not supposed to be talking to these guys. These guys are royalty. You need to stay in your lane. You're only like, you're lucky if you're only going to get one line. And so I did my line, and I'll tell you, man, Alex, I was so disappointed that they cut me out of it.
Man.
It was, the casting director goes, go to the other room. Go to the other room. We're done with you. Go to the other room and wait for and wait with all the other extras. And so they send me home for the day. Now I got paid for it, and I got paid decent for it, but it was all day long. We had to take like maybe 4 or 5 rapid COVID tests at the time. It was a horrible experience. It was just horrible. It wasn't nothing. I was like, this is not what I want to do. You're waiting all day, and then they get you on the set. And then when I finally get a chance to show my skills, then they're like, okay, it's cut, it's done. And I'm there for 14 hours. I got in Boston at 6 o'clock in the morning to about, and I didn't leave there until like 8 o'clock at night. There the whole day waiting around. And then when I finally got on set, they're like, okay, we're taking, we're not going to use you anymore. So
yeah, that's gotta be deflating.
It was deflating, but it just lets me know this is not me. I'm not Hollywood, man. Yeah. I'm not fake. I'm not Hollywood. I don't care about all this crap. This is why I like doing music. Yeah. Music is like yesterday, I did a kids party, and these kids thought I was a superstar. That means more to me than being on some movie and being in Hollywood. Yeah. So that's why I like to continue doing the music. So to answer your question, I'm getting to a point here. I have a lot of stuff going on, but it's going to be definitely music-wise more so than anything else.
Great.
And documentaries.
Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the documentaries too. Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to plug or promote?
No, just the only thing I want to promote is keep supporting live music. Yeah, local music. Get out there, support local music. If you want to follow me, DJ Dee Kimble. Facebook, the website if you want. But other than that, not only me, but just support everybody else. That's the only plug in. I want to just support local music and your local musicians. That's all.
And we're gonna have all the links for Dee Kimble, DJ Dee Kimble, on this description. So we'll have all your socials, any links. We'll have a link to that Amazon Prime video for the Deejayer. We'll have all that available. So if anyone's looking to find you, they'll find it in this video, in the description.
Sounds awesome.
Awesome. Dee, thank you so much for making the time for me, man.
Not a problem. I appreciate it. Good conversation. I got a lot off my chest.
I love it, man. Hey, sometimes talking it through just helps it out, man.
Therapy.
It's healing, man. It's healing.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you want to see what learn more about Dee Kimble, click on the links in the description below. Thank you guys so much.